Okay. Let me shoot out these requests.
The Greybeards have summoned the Dragonborn to High Hrothgar. Such a thing has not happened for hundreds of years.
So I've heard. Dink, dink, dink. Okay. What's going on? Alright. So, in the last one we talked about the inception of the different races of man and mer, listed different races. What's going on, Russ? In this one we'll be just trying to level up as quickly as possible. I don't even know what level. Only level 4, yeah. So we're gonna level up to at least like 10, and then when we get to 10, I'm gonna be doing this for like a couple hours. When we get to 10, then I'll start the quest line for the Dark Brotherhood, and I'm gonna do the lore for that. But until then, just do minor quests and also explore and just try and use some skills so we can level up as quickly as can. Who's this guy? Oh, yeah,
Greetings, brother. You look weary. I have something to help you relax if you're interested. The finest skooma, the sweetest moon sugar, at a fair price, of course.
It doesn't seem legal.
Oh, a snitch, huh? Can't have you running any guards now, can I?
He actually wants to fight.
You're as good as dead.
This is how you get away with murder. Make them effective.
You can't win this!
That was easy. Sleeping tree sap. I was telling you about the hist and about how the sleeping tree in Whiterun Hold might be a history. There's two. We'll talk about that for a second. There's two stories as to how the history came to be. One of them involves Sheogorath and Umbra. If you don't know what Umbra is, I'll get into that, and we'll get into Sheogorath as well. And the other has to do with the eruption of the Red Mountain. Both of them seem likely. I mean, both of them are possible. Both of them seem unlikely as hell, and yet both of them, either one can be true. Ysolda in Whiterun tells both stories as random bits of information. You can't like ask her about it or anything. It's usually who I'm married to. Anyways, so one of the stories goes that when the Red Mountain erupted in Morrowind, it caused an earthquake, and because there's histories in Morrowind, there's histories in Blackmarsh, which are the two areas that were affected the most by the eruption, then one of the seeds from the history shot all the way in a cloud of dust, shot all the way over into Skyrim, and landed and was planted. And the eruption changed the genes of said history, and now it is now it's a sleeping tree. It's different than the other histories. You can tell it doesn't have leaves. The sap is the same color and it has similar properties, but there are some distinctions. And the other story goes, okay, so we all know about Sheogorath, and actually, well, it's partially to do with.
Bottles of mead than 2 wenches.
Hail, friend.
It's good to see another merry soul enjoying this fine
I love
day.
Skyrim. How you can just walk around and run into
But
random
you look
people.
tired. Come, share a bottle of honey brew mead with me.
The meads
Sounds
won't
good.
argue your ear off about which one.
Nothing like fine spirits to help raise your spirits. Cheers, my friend. May your adventures find you fame and fortune.
Okay. Anyways, the other story has to do with Clavicus Vile and Sheogorath, but the main part is it's told two different ways, but we're gonna go with the Clavicus Vile one. So Clavicus Vile was tricked by an old woman. Some say some versions of the story go that it was Sheogorath playing a trick on Clavicus Vile
Just die!
to make Clavicus Vile kind of screw himself, because he's used to, if you know anything about Clavicus Vile, we talked about him in the last video. He's the Daedric Prince of Wishes, right? So he goes, you pray to him, he appears, he's really nice, and you ask him for anything, and he pretty much gives you what you want. And later it turns out you didn't really want what you asked for. Well, an old lady one day asked Clavicus Vile for a special gift, a specific sword. A sword with some of his power in it, so it's an extremely strong sword. So he made the sword and gave it to her, and the plan was that the sword would be so powerful that it would try and find another person to wield it, and would leave her, basically. Well, she named the sword Umbra and gave it to a necromancer. The necromancer put a spell on it, and the sword became self-aware. It had the name Umbra, and it became self-aware. The sword, because it was self-aware, had some of Clavicus Vile's power in it and refused to go back to Clavicus Vile, so Clavicus Vile became weaker. This has happened during the event, right before the events of Oblivion, and that's why in this game, when you see Clavicus Vile is weaker than in the other games. Now, Umbra, the sword, so Clavicus Vile gets even and ends up having a scheme to kill this Dark Brotherhood.
My mother,
You guys wanted me to do Dark Brotherhood, so.
mother. Unmoving. Oh, poor Cicero is stuck. Can't you see? I was transporting my dear, sweet mother. Well, not her. Her corpse. She's quite dead.
Not your mother.
I'm taking Mother to a new home, a new crypt, but... Ah! Wagon wheel! Damnedest wagon wheel! It broke. Don't you see? Oh!
Okay, so,
yes! Yes, the kindly stranger can certainly help. Go to the farm, the Lorius farm, just over there,
Oh, wait,
off
sir.
the road.
Sister had to stop
Talk to
talking.
Lorius. He has tools. He can help me, but he won't. He refuses. Convince Lorius to fix my wheel. Do that, and poor Cicero will reward you with coin. Gleamy, shiny coin.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go into the full story because it would take me so long, and I haven't told you all the back machinations to set up the story. If you haven't been playing the game, you wouldn't know them in the first place. So I'll just say that basically Umbra, the sword, when you wield it, it makes you go crazy. Like, you lose yourself, and you change your name to Umbra, and eventually start doing whatever the sword wants you to, because the sword kind of takes control of you. It had that power, and that was the power that she asked for in the sword. But instead of doing it for her or for Clavicus Vile, which is what Clavicus Vile wanted, it does it for the sword itself. The sword can think for itself. Well, so a bunch of series of events happens, and two guys get stuck. They try and steal Umbra. Well, Clavicus Vile devises a plan after talking to two men, and tells them basically if they get the sword and give it to him, that he will reward them. So the sword knows this is happening because it's connected to Clavicus Vile, and when they get the sword and they take it into Clavicus Vile's realm of oblivion, the sword kills one of the two men and tells the other one that he will spare his life only if he helps him to deceive Clavicus Vile. And he does that, and they both escape. Clavicus Vile has that man killed in typical Clavicus Vile fashion, but the sword took more of Clavicus Vile's power with it. Once he got reconnected with its master, I guess, it took more, a larger piece of Clavicus Vile with it. And since then, it's been much stronger. And when it came back, it decided it was going to build its own city. And the guy who went back with Clavicus Vile, the guy who went back with Umbra, helped to make this new city, and it was a floating city called Umbriel. And this city was floating above Cyrodiil and parts of Skyrim. And the legend has it with the sleeping tree is that one of the seeds fell off or blew off in the wind from Umbriel and landed in Whiterun Hold and sprouted up a sleeping tree. But back to that story, how that ended. So Clavicus Vile finds out about what's going on and sees Umbriel floating and knows about what's going on and asks for the help of the champion of Cyrodiil. You know, the Oblivion Christ is your character. Asks you for help in retrieving Umbra because it's causing such a havoc, and giving it back to Clavicus Vile. Now, if you do the quest and you get the sword back, but if you don't give it back, it starts draining your health. Well, but you don't get to that point because you give it back. But before you do, his dog Barbas, which is the other half of Clavicus Vile, tells you don't give the sword back to Clavicus Vile. It will make him too powerful. Don't do it. It'll end badly. Well, you do, and Barbas was right. It ends badly, and a lot of people die, and yeah, so that's that. But anyways, we're starting the whole Dark Brotherhood thing, but this has to be done first because that's Cicero, and in the cart is the Night Mother. Let's talk about the Night Mother a little bit after we talk about Telorius.
Oh, for the love of Mara, what now? That Cicero feller? Huh, tell me something I don't know.
I am?
Crazy fool's already asked me about 5 times.
What's going on?
Seems he's not satisfied with my answer. Why can't he just leave us alone? Pay me? You think this is about money? Have you seen the man? He's completely out of his head. A jester here in Skyrim? Ain't been a merry man in these parts for 100 years. And he's transporting some giant box. Says it's a coffin, and he's going to bury his mother. Mother, my eye. You could have anything in there. War contraband, weapons, skooma. Ain't no way I'm getting involved in any of that. What? And just who in Mara's name are you, anyway? Come here, telling me my business. And for what? To help a
This guy really likes Mara.
Look, Yes, you're right.
It's not hot.
Fella might be nutters, might not. But fact is, he needs help. I turned him away. What kind of a man am I, huh?
It gets to be like 120 here in the
Thanks.
summer.
And I'm sorry for my unneighborly reaction. If you talk to Cicero, you be sure to tell him I'll be
You
down
need
to help
something?
soon.
Talk to my husband.
I love Cicero. He's funny. One of my favorite followers. Him and Tazargo.
You did? He has? Oh, stranger!
I don't know
You
what's
have
the
made
weather.
Cicero so
It's,
happy, so jubilant and ecstatic, but
74.
even more, my mother thanks you. Here for your troubles, shiny, clinky gold. A few coins
So
for
let's
your
talk
kind
about
deed, and thank you,
the box.
thank
What's
you
in the box?
again.
Yes, that was a reference to the movie Seven. What's in the box? Okay, anyways. That's the Night Mother. He said it's his mother. Not his mother. Came from Breville. Now, if you played Oblivion, you visited Breville. And you know that's where the Night Mother's crypt is. And it's under the statue of the Lucky Old Lady. The Lucky Old Lady is supposedly the Night Mother herself. However, that story may or may not be true, because it said that the Lucky Old Lady lived a long life and was happy. He lives in, like, right by the beach, Huntington Beach, like, really, really nice area of California. Yeah. Not too far from me, but not right next to me. It's gonna end poorly, I know. Boost! Shite. Anyways, the, yeah, it's like 3 hours. So the Lucky Old Lady. What do we know about the Night Mother? Not much. Her whole life is kind of shrouded in mystery. All we know is that she had 5 kids, and that Sithis, who is not an Aedra or a Daedra, he is, and I'm quoting the Dark Brotherhood here, he represents just the void. He is just the void. Fuck, wrong one. The Sithis asked or offered a deal to the Night Mother, basically saying that he would marry her. We don't know what her name was before this. That he would marry her, but only if she killed all 5 of her children. Now, what were these children like that would make a god, not even a god, something stronger than a god, plea for these children's death? Like, these people, they didn't plead for Tiber Septim's death. I mean, Tiber Septim became a god, basically. So, what about these 5 children was so special that made Sithis plea for their death? She accepts, and she kills her 5 children, sacrifices them in the name of Sithis, and that's where the truth goes dry and everything else becomes conjecture. Some stories say that she joined the Thieves Guild and tried to convince the Thieves Guild to... Sounds good. She joined the Thieves Guild in hopes of making, in promoting the idea of murder for hire in the Thieves Guild, because the Thieves Guild will do muggings, break-ins, just about anything illegal you want them to do, smuggling, anything you want them to do other than murder. They will not kill. That is their, like, one rule. They won't kill anybody. So some stories say that the Night Mother joined the Thieves Guild in order to try and promote those things. And when that didn't work, she left to make a guild of her own. And called it the Dark Brotherhood. Now, I don't personally believe that because I know for a fact that something else did happen. So in Morrowind, you have a group of political assassins. They're assassins just like the Dark Brotherhood. The only difference is they only political assassinations. They only kill high priority targets like emperors and kings, but specifically people of the great houses of Morrowind, Redoran, Telvanni, those houses. Now, I'm still being chased by this thing. It's fucking pathetic. Morag Tong worship Mafala. Mafala is the Daedric Prince of Deception, Lies, and one of her weapons, called the Ebony Blade, it's actually a white blade, so I don't know why it's called that. It's made out of white ebony, it's weird. It gets more powerful when you kill your friends. Like, if somebody is your friend and then you turn your back on them and kill them, the blade becomes twice, it gets stronger every time you kill one of your friends. Kind of fucked up. So you can tell Mafala likes murder, so it's in her nature. So that's why they worship her. Something happened though that split. Nobody's quite sure. The quote-unquote historians can't be sure what happened between the Dark Brotherhood split and the rest of the fuck. Alright, I'm getting pissed. And the Morag Tong. A lot of people say it was because the Morag Tong, or that Sithis started whispering, not Sithis, the Night Mother started whispering to a member of the Morag Tong, telling them that other people were asking for their services and that they needed to follow through. And he became the first listener for the Dark Brotherhood. Other groups say that it was purely out of greed, that they were tired of you only make so much money when you're only doing political targets. I mean, you charge more obviously, but you're only making so much because there's only so many politicians out there in need of assassinating. So some people think that the split was just based on money. With that said, what do we know about the Dark Brotherhood here in Skyrim? It's all but dead. If you were listening to when I was talking to Cicero mentioned that the Night Mother's crypt in Breville was desecrated, and he was forced to come here, and he didn't want to come here, but he was forced to. Well, let's talk about what happened. So during the Great War, when Cyrodiil was being invaded by the High Elves, the Almor, and the rest of the Aldmeri Dominion, Breville was ransacked. The statue of the lucky old lady was seen as worshipping even though they didn't worship the lucky old lady, it was still seen as worshipping like a pagan god, pretty much. A god that wasn't in their pantheon, so it was seen as, heresy. So they destroyed the monument to the lucky old lady. They destroyed the crypt, but they spared the bodies of the 5 children and the old lady underneath. So the so Cicero then, and this we'll talk about it more when we see his journals, but he mentions what happens afterwards. Basically, he is forced, because he is the keeper of the Night Mother, he's forced to help. He's forced to take the body and move it somewhere else. He wasn't always crazy. In fact, before this, he was quite sane. He said that his insanity, his quote-unquote laughter, was a gift from the Night Mother. From the Dreadfather, sorry. So Sithis. Was a gift from Sithis to make his loneliness not affect him as much anymore. He never felt alone because he went completely insane. So Cicero goes, and in his journals it talks about what the hell? How he goes to another Dark Brotherhood sanctuary in the Imperial City, and there is a Khajiit there, and the Khajiit says that the Night Mother spoke to him. And so this made Cicero happy, and so Cicero asked him basically, what did the Night Mother say to you? And there's binding words that the Night Mother says to each listener. And when the Khajiit failed to answer the question and say what the Night Mother had said to him, those binding words, Cicero killed him. And when he killed him, he was forced out of the sanctuary to take the Night Mother with him. Now, it's good that he left anyway, because they were killed shortly thereafter. The rest of the people in the sanctuary were killed. Fucking skeevers. So he leaves there and finds out that the Great War has completely decimated all of the Dark Brotherhood sanctuaries. The only one left in all of Tamriel is Skyrim, the Skyrim chapter that's in Falkreath. And so when Cicero gets to Falkreath, but here's the thing about the one in Falkreath: they have completely abandoned their old ways, the traditions that make the Dark Brotherhood the Dark Brotherhood. They assassinate pretty much anybody. They don't listen to anything the Night Mother has to say. They don't follow the 5 tenets of the Dark Brotherhood, and the 5 tenets are, let me try to remember them all. You can never dishonor the Night Mother. You can never disobey an order from a superior. You can never steal anything from a Dark Brother or a Dark Sister. You can never kill a Dark Brother or a Dark Sister. And you can never kill outside of your work. And after each of those tenets are the words as follows. To do so is to invoke the wrath of Sithis. Y'all are weird, you know that? So...
Divine's sake, Scald.
What
Who
could
do
it
you
mean?
think we're threatening?
The return of the Dragonborn?
We're
And
not
who among us
soldiers
could
anymore.
possibly hold that honor?
Your man Horik is wearing his old Legion armor. What should I make of that?
He's proud of his service, Scald. The Legion taught us loyalty, and we're loyal to Dawnstar.
This isn't over. I catch you sending one letter to General Tullius. I'll have you both executed.
You never talk much about yourself, do you, Horik? I swear, these past 30 years you've been at my side, and I think I
By the
barely
gods,
know
it's
you.
true, isn't it?
What's to
A
say?
dragon has
Anyways, so now you know what the 5 tenets are, but now you know that they have completely abandoned
You've come to
their
Dawnstar at a
tenets.
strange time, friend. Seems everyone in the town is having nightmares.
And since they've abandoned these things, they don't have the blessing of Sithis anymore. And Sithis is what gives them most of their abilities. They don't have a lot of their gifts. They don't have connection to the Night Mother. Each chapter is supposed to have a listener, and each listener has. This is how the rest of the people go. So the listener chooses a second, somebody to basically rub his feet and do whatever the fuck he wants. Now each listener has 4 speakers. Hey, what's going on, Jesse? Each speaker carries out the will of the Night Mother. They give the orders down the line, basically. So when the listener says, go kill this person, they handle those people dying. Then you have one silencer. The silencer handles the more difficult assassinations. Like if you were hired to assassinate Titus Meade, the Emperor, then you would send the silencer, because the silencer has more gifts than the other groups have. So than the other people in the group has. So in a way, that's how their hierarchy works, and then everybody underneath is just a member. To become a member, you have to be seeked out. You can't join. Like, it's not something like you can like go up to a member and say, "Hey, can I join?" You do that, you'll probably end up floating in a river somewhere. Whereas the okay, what? The whack. There we go. So that is the hierarchy. That is their rules. That is pretty much most of what you need to know about the Dark Brotherhood before we start. You know that they're pretty much destroyed. The only sanctuary left is in Skyrim, where we are now, and that they have abandoned their tenants, and their leader is kind of a bitch. Yeah, it's pretty much everything you need to know. Everything else is pretty much irrelevant. I want to... This is something that I don't get anything, like, special. You don't get any, like, extremely rare armor or anything. Whereas with the Dark Brotherhood, you would. So, until then, I want to see about joining the war. And we're going to talk a lot. There's just so much to talk about the war. Damn, I'm going to be rambling a lot about this part, guys, so I apologize. I am really passionate about this war, okay? Skyrim is in the midst of a civil war. It's obvious in the very beginning when you were watching. There's two sides. You have the Empire, the Imperials, which we just went through one of their camps, and then you have the Stormcloaks. The Stormcloaks are called the Stormcloaks at first as a joke.
I can take you to... Where do you want to go?
Windhelm.
Climb and back, and we'll be off.
The Stormcloaks were called the Stormcloaks as a joke because their leader, Ulfric Stormcloak, who was at your side about to get murdered with you, his last name is Stormcloak. So they basically said that none of you can think for yourselves, you're just parroting what he says, so you're Stormcloaks. Well, they were like, you know what? I'll take that name. It sounds pretty good. It's a damn good name. So we're going to call ourselves the Stormcloaks. So they named their army the Stormcloaks. And, yeah. It's pretty funny. It backfired because then the Empire was like, no, you can't be proud of that name. We named you that as a joke to try and piss you off. And yeah, so let's talk about Windhelm a little bit. Windhelm, this giant-ass walkway was built by Ulfric right after the Great War. And it was built to keep out elves. They basically said, no damn elves are going to sneak into my city. And so they built this giant walkway that you have to, like, march down in order to get into the city. So you're not sneaking in. It's pretty funny. And there's only one way in and out of the city, whereas other cities have multiple entrances and exits. Exits. Wow, I can't even talk. Okay, so let's talk about the war. The Empire, this is how the war started.
You come
okay?
here where you're not wanted. You eat our food, you pollute
funny.
our city with your
Look
stink,
at the racism.
and you refuse to help the Stormcloaks.
But we haven't taken a side because it's not our fight.
Hey, maybe the reason these Greyskins don't help in the war is because they're Imperial spies.
Imperial spies? You can't be serious.
Maybe we'll pay you a visit tonight, little spy. We got ways of finding out what you really are.
Funny stuff.
There's no glory in war. It's just something they tell soldiers so they'll risk their lives.
I disagree. I think there's glory in war. But I do think
it's no secret the
part of it's a scam. Yeah, he was just telling me about the Dark Brotherhood. It's pretty funny. This is where you go to start the quest line.
He's a true Nord. He'll come around.
Don't be so sure of that. We've intercepted couriers from Solitude. The Empire's putting a great deal of pressure on Whiterun.
And what would you have me do?
If he's not with us, he's against us.
He knows that. They all know. That.
How long are you going to wait?
You think I need to send Bolgraf a stronger message?
If by message you mean shoving a sword through his gullet.
Taking his city and leaving him in disgrace would make a more powerful statement, don't you think?
So we're ready to start this war in earnest then?
Soon.
I still say you should take them all out like you did dead King Torrig.
Torrig was merely a message to the other Jarls. Whoever we replace them with will need the support of our armies.
We're ready when you are.
Things hinge on Whiterun. If we can take the city without bloodshed, all the better. But if not...
The people are behind you.
Many, I fear, still need convincing.
Then let them die with their false kings.
We've been soldiers a long time. We know the price of freedom. But people are still weighing things in their hearts.
What's left of Skyrim to wager?
They have families to think of.
How many of their sons and daughters follow your
Tell
banner?
me this damn... Tell me that's not the coolest logo.
Well put, friend. Tell me, Galmar, why do you fight for me?
That bear.
I'd follow you into the depths of oblivion.
Fucking
you know that.
I want to get the
Yes,
tattooed.
Why do you fight? If not for me, what then?
I'll die before elves dictate the fates of men. Are we not one in this?
I fight for the men I've held in my arms, dying on foreign soil. I fight for their wives and children whose names I heard whispered in their last breath. I fight for we few who did come home, only to find our country full of strangers wearing familiar faces.
Fuck, I love this guy.
Fight for my people, impoverished to pay the debts of an empire too weak to rule them, yet brands them criminals for wanting to rule themselves.
Fuck.
I fight so that all the fighting I've already done hasn't been for nothing. I fight because I must.
Your words give voice to what we all feel.
Man, that
That's
speech,
why you
man,
will
gives
be
me
High
chills.
King.
Ulfric is a fucking
the day
badass.
words are enough would be the day when soldiers like
We need
us
him leading
no
our
longer needed.
I would
movement.
gladly retire from the world, were such a day to dawn.
Aye, but in the meantime, we have a war to plan.
Galmar thinks we should double our men in the Reach.
A reasonable strategy.
And you, Yorleaf?
Well, sir, the hold of Falkreath is fairly vulnerable, and blocks the only road from Cyrodiil.
A good point, old friend.
To be sure, my lord, I am not skilled in the arts of war or military tactics.
But you're able to see the hole in the parts, and for that I'm grateful.
As you wish, sir.
Only the foolish or the courageous approach a Jarl without summons. Do I know you?
I believe we've already met.
Is that so? Yes. You were with us at Helgen. Destined for the chopping block, if I'm not mistaken. A fair point. Well, you've come to the right place then. Speak with Galmar. I'm always looking for able fighters. Not everyone can say they made it out of Helgen. Seems we're all branded villains these days. So long as your criminal past stays in the past, and you fight for me with honor and integrity, we'll welcome you into our ranks.
Aye, but in the meantime, we have a war to plan. Helgen, huh? Ulfric told us quite the story.
That is small,
If
fam.
you made it through all that, you're likely worth something to me. Now, but first, tell me, why does a foreigner want to fight for Skyrim?
Not really a foreigner, but...
Can't fault anyone for that. As long as you hate the Empire as much as I do, that I can work with. All right. But before I can put you to use, I need to know how much you can take. I have a little test for you. That's what I like to hear. So long as you can back up those words with steel. I'm sending you to Serpentstone Island. If you survive, you pass. If you die...
Average is like 5.5.
Be much use to me anyway.
But I mean, like, I'm everybody here is like over 6 foot, so...
It's where men have tested their metal for ages. There's a strange rock formation built by the ancients. Something about that place attracts the ice wraiths. You kill an ice wraith out there, and I'll have all the proof I need about you. We'll see about... Here. Try not to die.
Okay, so let's talk about the war. Let's talk about Ulfric, actually. You know what? Fuck, there's so much to talk about in so little time. We're gonna run all the way over to... You don't have a dick, so it doesn't matter. We're gonna run all the way over to this area to go fucking kill this ice wraith. Here.
Spare a coin for... Oh, thank you. Divines bless your kind heart.
We'll talk more about the city later on. Right now I want to talk about Ulfric. Ulfric, what's his history? What is his point? What's with the war? This dude started a revolution. Over what? Let's talk about that a little bit. So Ulfric Stormcloak gained notoriety because he was the son of the Jarl of Windhelm, this city right here. He was the son of the Jarl. Then the Great War happened, and he volunteered. He's royalty. He didn't have to fight, but he volunteered to fight. And he went to go fucking kill elves, because he fucking hates the elves. That's why the elves in the city are treated so badly. You see how racist all the Nords were? They're just mimicking what their leader says, and their leader is Ulfric. He's fucking like, I hate the elves. He doesn't kill them off. He doesn't treat them terribly, but he doesn't give them anything. He wants them to go home. He understands that they're refugees, so he allows them to live here. But that's it. That is as far as their welcome goes. It's basically, I'm not going to treat you good, so you stay here. I'm going to treat you bad, so when you're ready to go home, you don't want to stay here. You'd rather go home. But for now, this is where you have to be. And that's basically Ulfric's idea here. At least that's the way I see it. I don't know. I could be wrong.
The best way for us to win the Nord's respect is
regardless, the 2 inches. Anyways, the Ulfric gained notoriety in the Great War. He was one of the best fighters. But something that a lot of people don't know about him is when he was born, he was chosen by the Greybeards to become a Greybeard. The Greybeards are the people that stay on top of the mountain and practice the way of the voice so they can shout like the Dragonborn, like this. They can do that. But they have to train years and years, and they become so good at it that actually the strongest NPC in the game is the Greybeards. Bori is level 90. What's his name? Something Gar is 85. Then Arengir is level 150, which is the max level. And he's level 150. You can't kill him even if you wanted to. But if you check his level, he's level 150. The dude is the strongest thing in the game. Stronger than any of the enemies you can fight. Fortunately, he won't fight you. I mean, he'll fight you if you attack him, and he'll kill you very easily. But I mean, he's a level 150, so you gotta understand that's like extremely strong. So you gotta understand what kind of power the people have in the beginning. Russell is 6'0". I think Bjorn is 6'2", and I am 6'10". No, I'm talking about without boots. I'm 6'10" without boots. With boots on, I'm like 7 foot. Hey, I was asked a question. I'm answering questions. Anyways, so Ulfric gains notoriety because he volunteers for this war. But like I said, he was chosen to be a Greybeard, so he had innate strength in him that the Greybeards saw that other people, I guess, had overlooked. Maybe they overlooked him. Who knows? What the fuck? What's going on here? Who is this and what do they want? Oh, vampire! Oh, please don't infect me. I don't have it, do I? Please tell me I don't have it. Shit, I'm scared. I'm actually really scared. Nope, we're good. She can infect me because I'm not immune to diseases right now. 6'11" year. The thought too. No, I'm 6'10". I'm almost 6'11". I'm like right under 6'11", and then with boots on, I'm 7 foot. So, anyways, so I was trying to explain that Ulfric, you can tell he's strong because he was chosen immediately when he was born. The Greybeards could tell how strong he was, and they chose him above all other people to be a Greybeard. And he trained with them for the first 18 years of his life, but when he died, when he became an adult, he left to join the Great War. He can't be now. The Greybeards are they're pacifists. They refuse to fight unless absolutely necessary. I was being attacked by, and they're called Horkers. I was being attacked by them, and I was defending myself. First off, and second off, they're called Horkers. Ouch. Damn. I'm sorry. You need to go grab some fucking ice, dude. That burned. That burned me, and it wasn't even for me. Ow. Anyways, so the Greybeards chose him, and he trained with him for the first 18 years. But like I said, they are sworn to not fight unless attacked. So he could not fight in the Great War and be a Greybeard at the same time. So he gave up. He renounced his status as a Greybeard and left to join the Imperial Army, the Empire that he's fighting now, to join the army to fight for Skyrim. And in it, he fought next to High King Torrig. He fought next to, not Tullius, but his second, the legate, what's her name, Briga? Or something like that. He fought next to her. He fought next to a lot of the people that he's now hunting down. He fought next to Torrig, and he already murdered Torrig. Well, it didn't murder him, challenged him to combat, and then killed him. But even that really wasn't fair. And during the Great War, he gained fame because he was the best fighter out of everybody. Like, Torrig, in Torrig's journals, we find out how fucking powerful Ulfric was. Like, he saved his ass, like, multiple times. They became really good friends during the war, High King Torrig and Ulfric. Now, after the war was over, about 10 years after the Great War was over, the Empire surrendered to the Aldmeri Dominion, which pissed off Ulfric from the beginning. They're like, we don't surrender, we're Nords, we fight to the death. It's like victory or Valhalla, victory or Sovngarde is what they say. So they're fine. He'd rather die than surrender, and they surrendered, and he was forced to surrender. So when he surrendered, he was like, fine, whatever. When that was over, he goes home and finds out that his father signed the White Gold Concordat. The White Gold Concordat was a treaty written by the elves, basically letting the Empire rule itself. However, the Thalmor get to patrol the Empire and enforce their laws if they want any laws. And the second half of the treaty was banning the worship of Talos, which is one of the gods that only the Nords worship, because Talos is he was a human being, and the humans worship him as a god, and the elves refuse to say that he's a god, so they're basically like, we're not worshiping it, so you're not worshiping it. Nice try. Now this gave Ulfric the opportunity he needed to openly defy the Empire and to have enough people behind him, because now it's not just about hating the fact that they gave up. It's about the Empire being, what is this called? Ice Wraith Bane. No, not the bow. Axe of Whiterun. To openly, enough people worship Talos, so they will openly defy the Empire now. Seeing the Empire forcing the Nords to give up their religion. This pissed off enough people that he could start a mini revolution. And he did that by not actually fighting, not actually, like, killing anybody or doing anything, but he went to he went to his father and said, in front of all of his father's people, you're a coward. You're not a man. If you were a man, you would never have signed that and forced your people to give up their god. You don't deserve the throne that you sit on, and I'm ashamed to call myself your son. And he said, I will worship the god that I want, and I refuse to stop, basically. You can't stop me. So his father now...
Here's the friendship. A gift. If you don't like it, too bad.
What? Thank you, I guess. That was polite. I've never had that happen before. Yeah, I know. It does sound like your father, doesn't it? He's basically like, you're weak. And his father is now forced. He has two choices. So his father has 3 choices, I guess. 1, he exiles his son and says, you cannot live here. The other option is kill his son. Kill Ulfric.
Damn the moot. We should risk letting those milk drinkers put Toryg's woman
And
on
the
throne.
third
She'll hand
is
Skyrim over to the elves on a silver
to allow
plate.
his son to openly worship Talos. And doing so is to openly defy the Aldmeri Dominion, to openly defy the White Gold Concordat, and therefore openly defy the Empire. And that would cause the Empire to be forced to kill the Jarl of Windhelm, Ulfric's dad. So Ulfric's dad is in a hard spot. So he decides, I'm not going to kill my son. I'm not going to let him do his thing. I'm going to exile him. So he exiles him. Now, when Ulfric is exiled, he says, I will be back to rule.
You will be that king, Ulfric. You must be.
Get done with this.
You're
Blah, blah,
alive.
blah.
I owe Ulfric a drink. I have to admit, I didn't think we'd be seeing you again. I misjudged you. You're definitely Stormcloak material. It's time we made this official. You ready to take the oath? Not at all. I wasn't sure. Now, if we're done being before, you must also pledge unswerving loyalty to your... That's the... I do... Jarl of Windhelm, as Talos is my... Even to my lord. All hail...
Blah, 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 blah,
Which
blah,
means...
blah.
Oh, and here. You're a Stormcloak now. You ought to look the part. Watch yourself out there. Battle reveals who a man really is.
What's the mission?
We're headed. Your fellow Stormcloaks are already assembling outside the tomb.
Okay, so let me...
It will be there.
Let's finish talking about Ulfric. So Ulfric goes to... he flees the city and he goes to the only place in Skyrim that he feels he can openly worship Talos. Who is Talos? Here's the Temple of Talos right here. We'll go see what Talos, again, we'll go pray at the statue and stuff. Since we're Stormcloaks now, we might as fucking well. So yeah, there's Talos. Banned in all of the places except for like 1 or 2 cities. So Ulfric goes to, and with some of his people that fought with him in the war, they go to, you can put, you might as well put Jesus in the brackets too, I mean, since we're doing all the religions. So anyways, the, atheist. So Ulfric is, now kind of, so he heads to the Reach. If you don't know about the Reach, the Half-Bloods, the Bretons, the Manmer, the people who are half Elvish, half Nordic, say that the Reach belongs to them. Now, the Nords, on the other hand, say no, the land belongs to us. And the Elves say it belongs to them. Nobody gives a shit. Everybody says it's theirs, and nobody really cares whose it is, as everybody's going to keep living there. However, there's a group of them that are called the Forsworn, aka the Madmen of the Reach. They worship some really weird pagan gods.
We've got
they worship
weapon. Looking to protect yourself.
All different kinds of. Get rid of that. 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 Alright, we're good.
Good doing business with you.
So...
Yeah.
By he, I'm talking about Ulfric. Goes to the Reach. Goes to Markarth. When he gets to Markarth, he realizes...
Once I've made enough... Thank you. As promised, let me show you a thing or two about bargaining. Don't want some shifty merchant giving you a raw trade.
Sees that the Forsworn have taken over the city. They kicked out the Nords and a lot of other people.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often?
And
what am I saying? Of course you don't.
Kicked the king out, and so now Markarth belongs to the Forsworn. And the Thalmor refused to send reinforcements to help them take their city back. Yeah, I know. The Thalmor, who said that they were going to, you know, they were the saviors of Skyrim, that they were helping them by giving them the white gold concordat, they refused to save the country that they said that they were saving. And they allowed a lot of people to get slaughtered, and they didn't even try to take back their land. So it tells you how much they actually cared about their countries. So Ulfric gets there, and he finds the old Jarl of Markarth, and says, I want to make a deal with you. He goes, okay, what do you want? He goes, I will help you to become, I will help you take back your lands, and you can keep keep Markarth under your control if, when this is over, I can worship Talos and my men can worship Talos freely. And the king of Markarth says, yes, deal, done. And so Ulfric says, okay. He marches the troops in and slaughters everyone. Slaughters all of the Forsworn. Uses the Thu'um, the shouts, to push them out of the city. The rest of them. And all of the people who refused to fight on his side in taking back the city, he executed them. By hand. He executed them. Like children. If you were old enough to hold a sword and you didn't fight, you were executed. Like, there was no mercy. And when that was over, he said, there, now your city is both safe and yours again. He goes, wow, thanks. So he said, I'll keep up my end of the bargain, you can worship whoever you want. Now, I don't know, it was weird.
My boys will keep you safe, don't you worry.
So Ulfric now is worshipping Talos in Markarth. However, the Aldmeri Dominion finds out very quickly about what's going on.
Let me know if you see anything.
And they go to the Emperor of Skyrim and they say, you need to deal with this.
Odds and ends.
Part of the deal of us not killing you was you staying in control of your country and forcing people not to worship that god, and they are worshiping that god. So you need to deal with it. And so the High King didn't really have a choice. He might not have wanted to, but he had to. Goes to the Jarl of Markarth and says, look, you need to kill Ulfric or imprison him or something and show that nobody's allowed to worship that god anymore. Yes? Who is it?
I'm leaving. Can you take the trash out, please?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Recyclables.
No worries. So he... Where was I? Sorry, my mother asked me a question. The Jarl of Markarth
yes?
Goes in the middle of the night because now he's seen Ulfric fighting and he knows how much of a badass fighter Ulfric is, right? So he goes in the middle of the night and arrests Ulfric and all of his men. This just pisses Ulfric off because he's like, I can't even trust my fellow man here. Like, we had a deal and you're going back on it because you're scared? You didn't even ask me for help? We could have helped you fight back the Empire and, you know, make this place strong. We have a stronghold here. But no, you're going to arrest me and kill me. And so they arrested him. And on trial, when he was put on trial, he shouted and busted his chains and busted his men's chains, and they fled. They escaped the city. And they went into hiding. While they were in hiding, word got to them that his father was dead. His father had died while he was away. Now, because his father died while he was away, he's next in line to claim the throne, right? So he goes back to Windhelm, and he marches his ass with his troops into Windhelm. And they go straight into the palace. When they get in the palace, they see some asshole sitting on the throne. And you're like, who are you? He's like, your father appointed me, here's your father's will, he appointed me as the new Jarl of Windhelm. And he said, oh hell no, that's my position. He goes, no, your father gave it to me, I am now High King. I'm now the Jarl. And Ulfric goes, you sure you don't want to change your mind? And he said no. He goes, alright, I challenge you to combat. Now, in Nordic tradition, if you want to go to heaven, if you want to go to Valhalla, Sovngarde, right? If you want to go, you have to follow very strict traditions. You have to stick to the Nordic traditions. And if you don't, you are therefore unable to ever enter Sovngarde, which is like Valhalla. One of these rules being that if you are challenged to open combat, you have to accept. The other half being the loser of said duel. I think I'll play a little more. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna get into gameplay right now. We're actually starting the Stormcloak missions. I was just before all of the missions start. I was getting talking a little bit about the backstory of the missions. Alright, we'll walk over there. So Ulfric challenges this guy to open combat, and the guy accepts. And so Ulfric kills him, cuts off his head, and throws it down the stairs in front of the palace. And he says, "Does anybody else want to sit on my crown, on my throne?" And everybody was like, "Nope, you win." And he said, "Thank you." So he sat down and took his rightful place, I guess, as the Jarl of Windhelm. As soon as he did that, he ripped up the White Gold Concordat and kicked out the Thalmor judiciaries that were in his city. When that happened, the Emperor of Skyrim sent somebody to go talk to Ulfric and say that he needed to sign the White Gold Concordat. And when the guy got there, Ulfric had him killed and said, "How's that for signing? You can sign it with the blood." Basically saying, we refuse. So when Ulfric kills this guy, now it's basically open war. So now you have Imperial troops marching on Windhelm, and they're attacking groups of... You guys gotta kill this guy.
Now ain't this a surprise?
Attacking groups of Stormcloaks. It's turned into little skirmishes. When... Let's see. Ooh, close. When Ulfric... Sorry, lockpicking is delicate. So Ulfric,
What you gonna do? Huh?
Another one? I thought I killed you all. Where the hell are these people coming from? They're spawning. Anyways, so now there's like an actual war going on. So Ulfric now can march his troops into Solitude and try and take the city, but he doesn't. Instead, he thinks of a better way to take back the city. To take back the city in a way that will get more support on his side. People won't think he's a barbarian, but will think of him as a savior, and will think of him as the proper High King, and more people will join that way. So he, unarmed, marches into the king's palace, into Solitude. Without any men, without any guards, he marches straight into enemy territory. That would be like during Vietnam, our general marching through, through North Korea into Pyongyang, and not Pyongyang, into what was that called? Saigon, into Saigon, and challenging their king to open combat, or their general to open combat, and the winner gets to walk out, and the winner takes control of the other's army. And that's basically what Ulfric did here. So everybody didn't really know what to do. Now, Torrig, like I said, was a Nord, and we talked about Nordic traditions. Now, Nords, if you're challenged to combat, you have to accept. You don't really have a choice, or else you don't get to go to heaven. So Torrig accepts, obviously, when you talk to him in Sovngarde, he says, "I died with my honor, Ulfric." He said, "Will you be able to say the same?" So now Torrig fought next to Ulfric in the Great War, so he knows how great of a fighter Ulfric is, right? It's not like he's going in and he's just fighting some random guy. He doesn't know anything about him. He knows that he's going to lose this fight, and he accepts it. He accepts the terms of the fight and fights. And the fight is over very quickly. Now, Ulfric could have killed him without using the voice, but he wanted to show... He didn't want Torrig to even have a chance to draw his blade. He wanted to kill him before he even had a chance, to make him look as emasculated as possible. So he uses the voice to shout him up against the wall and then stabs him, killing him, right? Welcome back. So now Ulfric has killed the High King of Skyrim.
Hail, Ilfil.
Which makes him the new High King of Skyrim, by Skyrim tradition.
Skyrim together, eh? I'm glad I'll have you beside me in there. This place chills my blood, and I don't care who knows it. These old ruins. My father always told me to stay away from them. Good advice,
so,
I'd say.
There's two sides
Never
now.
mind all that.
Two people have a legitimate claim to the throne. Now, Torrig doesn't have any kids. So no person there would have
What's the lead? Ready to spill some Imperial blood for... That's what I like to hear.
Stay nice and warm around the
so the two people have a claim to the throne now. Torrig's widow, Elisif, can now become the High King. High Queen, I guess, which is unheard of. There's never been a High Queen. Well, yes, there has, I guess. There's been a High Queen, and that was what's your face? Potema was the High Queen. But most of the time they're guys. The High Kings have always mostly been guys. So Ulfric now has a claim because he killed him in fair combat, which makes him take his position. But so does Elisif. Elisif has the same claim to the throne because it's her bloodline. She is the High King. It can be handed down through bloodline. So technically, she has just as much of a claim to this throne as does Ulfric. So Ulfric, instead of proclaiming himself High King, he says, "We'll let the moot decide who they want to be High King," and he starts to walk out. Now Elisif, pissed off,
the way I like it. Sure.
About her, yeah, no, I'm not saying that shit back. She orders him to be
We attack on my signal. Time to show
I'm
what you're
attacking
really made of.
beforehand.
For Skyrim.
The
Pox on the Empire.
damn, I'm good. The so Elisif orders Ulfric to be killed. So he starts. So Ulfric walks out of turns around and starts walking out of the city. Now the gate's closed and it can be only opened by the gate man. Now
Engar, stay and guard the entrance. We don't want any Imperial reinforcements.
the other barge, right? Yeah. The other person who has so Rogvir, which is a Nord, but he's also part of the Solitude Guard. He's the guardsman. He has two choices. A, he can dishonor the traditions of Skyrim and therefore will not be allowed entry into Sovngarde. Or B, he can open the gate for the guy who just murdered his High King. Even though it wasn't murder, technically it was a fair duel. They agreed to combat and they fought. So both sides are legitimate. He chooses to open the gate
like the look of this.
For Ulfric.
10 to 1, they're just waiting for us.
When Ulfric walks out the gate, Rogvir's arrested, and very shortly after is executed.
We'll stay here and
which isn't
not so sure. Oh, then perhaps we should take a moment to look around.
So he gets executed.
You there, unblooded. See if you
hear anything? No, but I know they're out there. No other way they can. Shut up, or you'll blow our ambush.
Don't give them a chance to warn the others.
Ulfric now is free, and his winning this fight basically just legitimizes everything he's been saying since the beginning. He basically called Torrig in front of his entire crowd, "You're a puppet king. You're not even a real. You're not a Nord, and you're not a king. You're just a puppet of the Empire. You don't deserve this throne. You know, the person who leads this country needs to be strong, and the strongest person deserves to lead the country. So I challenge you to combat, and whoever wins deserves to lead the country." Now, oh, shit, I almost killed Rayloff. My bad. Now Ulfric, shit, wrong button. Fuck it, we'll keep it. Ulfric is in a good position. Now now that he's back home and he's got his army behind him, and his army now feels like they've been vindicated. They're like, wow, we were correct. Our guy is the strongest. He deserves to be High King. So now it wasn't just about freeing their one place. It's about putting Ulfric on the throne because he's earned that throne, right?
Where'd you come from?
So they try to do just that. And that's what this war now is about. It started out with Ulfric just wanting to restore worship of Talos, but now it is kicking the Empire out of Skyrim completely and making Skyrim an independent nation. And that's all fine and good, but you remember that the Empire wasn't the only bad guy in the Great War. You had the Empire was on the side of Skyrim. They were the only side that was fighting for Skyrim. So now they're fighting for the people that were fighting for them. They're fighting against them. The people who wanted to kill them, the elves.
Stories. We must be getting
the elves are still out there, and they still want to destroy Skyrim. They haven't changed any, right? So go back down here. I just picked it up. The hell?
That looks like some kind of claw from a statue. I wonder what it... Look out!
Oh, there it is. Fox, which represented moth and dragon. Fox, moth, dragon.
I wouldn't do that again, unless you know for sure.
There we go. Okay, so...
Good job.
Ulfric now
right,
is in a good place to declare that he is the High King, and that's exactly what he does. Now, everybody questions his actual reasons for the war. I think he's a very in-depth character. It's both about taking Skyrim back from the Empire. It's also about getting revenge on the elves, but it's also about putting him on the throne. He is a bit of a power-hungry person.
Unblooded, do what you do best. See if you can find some way to get that gate open.
That's not what I do best, but sure. So he kind of just wants... There we go. He just wants more power. And the seat of the High King is basically as high as you can go without becoming the Emperor, you know what I mean? So he takes that, he wants that more than pretty much anything else. And so that's kind of his twofold motivations. Yes, it's about freeing Skyrim. Yes, it's about sticking it to the elves. Yes, it's about, you know, fighting for a dying empire. But it's also about him wanting the throne. And what happens after they win? What happens after this war is over? If the Stormcloaks win, if we choose, and the Stormcloaks, we don't know what's canon. Even if I make them win, we don't know if it's canon. But let's say it is canon, right? So Ulfric wins this war. He becomes High King of Skyrim. Now what? Now the Aldmeri Dominion tells the Empire to launch a full-scale invasion of Skyrim. And they are going to back them. So now you're fighting both the Aldmeri Dominion and the Empire, when before you couldn't take just the Aldmeri Dominion by itself when you were in the Empire. It was you and the Empire versus the Aldmeri Dominion, and you couldn't win. Now it's the Aldmeri Dominion and the Empire versus you. They've kind of fucked themselves into a corner here. Now I'm all for Skyrim's independence, and I'm all for the white pride and the Nordic pride, and, you know, kicking the shit out of kicking the foreigners out of the country and taking back what belongs to you. But I mean, you gotta realize this is not going to end well. There's no situation in which this ends peacefully after this revolution is over. Taking back Skyrim is just step one. Now you have to fight the Empire when they try and reclaim it. Now you have to fight the elves. Now you have to fight all these different people who are going to be vouching for power. Not to mention, if there's a coup in your own country, you're screwed. And you've already wasted so much of your resources trying to take Skyrim in the first place. So now what?
Hey, watch it.
I guess it comes down to if you think they're powerful enough to take back Skyrim and fight off all of the elves. If so, then man, I truly hope so, because I want to see Skyrim free. I want to see the Empire die. I want to see the Aldmeri Dominion die. I want everybody to be. I don't want there to be alliances anymore. I want it to be, you know, everybody is self-governed. However, the likelihood of this happening is slim. In fact, the more likely scenario is they take it back, the elves march in, slaughter everybody, including Ulfric, and end of story. Now, we don't know if that is the end of it. And in fact, I highly doubt it's going to be the end of it. I doubt it because we know that the elves knew Ulfric was going to do this. In fact, this was all part of their plan. They wanted all of this to happen. When you're doing the mission with Delphine in Riverwood, and you invade the Thalmor, you go into the Thalmor embassy, and you get the books on Delphine and Esbern, you find another one on Ulfric, and you find out that Ulfric was captured by the Thalmor in the Great War. And that they knew for a fact that he wanted to start a revolution, and that he was power hungry. They described him as reckless and power hungry, and that all he cared about was getting more power. And they said, if we let him go, we know for a fact he will start a war here in Skyrim. And in the beginning, if you listen to what the Thalmor Judiciary was saying to General Tullius in the beginning of this, he's very clear. He says, she says, "Are you sure you know what you're doing when you're executing Ulfric?" He goes, "Yeah, this revolution will be put down." They didn't want him to kill Ulfric. Not enough bloodshed had been spilled. The Empire hadn't been weakened to the point where the Thalmor could just waltz right in and take both back again. So they wanted this revolution to continue. Maybe they knew the dragons were coming back. Maybe they called Alduin. Hell, we don't know. Why did Alduin choose Helgen as a staging point? Before doing anything else, he went to Helgen to save you. Why? Could the Thalmor have had a hand in that? We don't know. We know that they are extremely good at magic. It's all likely. It's very possible, I guess. Is it likely? Maybe, probably not. It could have just been a circumstantial. But you could tell for a fact that the Thalmor did not want Ulfric killed. They wanted, in fact, they wanted him to be let go by Tullius. And Tullius didn't actually understand. He was actually kind of confused why they were trying to tell him to let him go. You know what I mean? So when you get back to Windhelm here, when it's all said and done, the Stormcloaks are doing exactly what the Thalmor wanted them to. I don't think that the Thalmor thought that the Stormcloaks could win, and if the Stormcloaks do win, it might put a damper on things. But either way, this was all orchestrated. It's all set and orchestrated by the Thalmor. This entire thing was set up. This war is literally a chess match, and both sides are being played by the same person. In fact, we find out that Ulfric had a secret meeting with one of the Thalmor judiciaries. At least that's a rumor. We don't know if that's true or not.
That was right. Did you run? That's the spirit. I'm glad you delivered this axe to Balgrove. Men who understand. There are but a few. Balgrove will know my meaning. Keep your wits about you. The Jarl of Whiterun is...
But yeah, so... Ulfric is... He's an interesting character because he's multifaceted. He's an extremely powerful character. If you know his history, from the Greybeards on, he's extremely powerful. But is he just in his cause? And him sparing Elisif was like the ultimate political move. Letting her live, like, at the cost of his own men. Some of his own special forces died trying to capture her alive. Why would he do that? Why not just kill her and get it over with? Because now she's his pawn, just as the Empire is the pawn of the Thalmor. Just on a smaller scale. So he's a brilliant tactician. He thinks moves ahead. He knows what's happening. And he's a great speaker. And in my opinion, he'd be a great leader. He's strong. He's, you know, he believes what he believes and he's not easily swayed. I think he's a good leader. And again, I am a nationalist, so I support, you know, nationalism in Skyrim just as I do in Europe and in America. So of course, I side with Ulfric on this. But at the same time, like, I'd kind of be talking to him and I'd be like, dude, are you sure you know what you're doing here?
To lick my father's boots.
You know what I mean?
Good job.
Give me a second, I'm getting a phone call.
I serve Jarl Balgruuf as steward.
May the gods watch over your battles, friend. Did he now? Huh. The man is persistent, I'll give him that. I suppose it's time I give him an answer.
Enjoy your visit to Dragon's
What do you
Reach.
make of all this? If Ulfric were to attack Whiterun...
As in all things, Lord, caution. I urge us to wait and see.
Prey waits.
I'm of a mind with Irileth. It's time to act.
You plan to march on Windhelm?
Now, another thing, the Imperial Legate, who is friends with Ulfric, and Ulfric tries to spare her life at the end, and then you end up killing her at the end of this campaign if you choose the Stormcloak side. She feels exactly the same way about the Empire and about the Thalmor as Ulfric does. The difference is, she sees what I see. She sees a road that you're headed down, and there's a dead end. Way off in the distance, there's a dead end. And you're gonna fucking crash your car, and you can die. It's very likely that you're going to die if you continue on this path. And you choose...
He's already proven his personal strength. Now he seeks to
You choose to continue on this road. You're, in all likelihood, unless you have an extremely skilled person behind the wheel and not just somebody who wants to drive, because in this situation, Ulfric just seems like the guy who wants to drive. Yeah, he's a good tactician. Yeah, he's good at you know, getting his people to rally behind him. Fuck yeah, he's a good fighter. But is he a strong enough leader that he can lead the Nords to a victory against the Aldmeri Dominion and the might of the Empire?
That was different.
Another wanderer here to
I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know, honestly.
The Jarls weren't asked. We were told, and we had to like it.
The chests of gold didn't hurt.
Damn it! This isn't about gold.
It's time to decide.
Lord, wait. Let us see if Ulfric is serious.
Oh, he's serious. But so am I.
Finally.
So about this axe. You can return this axe to our friend. The esteemed Jarl of Windhelm has my answer. Make sure he gets it. Proventus, bring me my pen. And the good parchment.
Are we writing a letter, Lord?
Yes, to General Tullius. I need to make a few things clear before I accept these legionnaires of his.
Alright, guys. That concludes talking a little bit about Ulfric. I'm gonna go with a lot more on this story that I want to add in, but that's just part of it. And I do lore plays like this once every 2 days. Play for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we're gonna do we're just starting this war, and I don't want to go too deep into I've talked a lot about Ulfric and about the war and stuff, but I'm gonna talk about the other side of it, try to see it from the other point of view. I'm gonna talk a lot about that, but until then, I don't want to add anything else on looking for a specific book here. Alduin is real. Book of Daedra. Okay, can't find it. Okay, so yeah, that we're gonna start this back up with the Battle of Whiterun, as it's called, Battle for Whiterun. We chose the side of the Stormcloaks in this, as that's how I would be in real life, though I would explain to Ulfric, and I would try, and I would probably... I mean, him and Torrig were good friends. He could have went to Torrig and probably persuaded him into, you know, turning his back on the Empire and declaring independence without all of this bloodshed. But he didn't, because he wanted that throne. You know, I respect Ulfric. He's a damn good leader and a guy I could get behind in real life. I mean, somebody I would want leading my revolution. You know what I mean? That's the kind of leader I would want. But he just lets pride get in the way, and he wants everything himself, you know what I mean? Even to where when it came to his own family, like disobeying his own father and cutting that connection with his own father. Granted, I understand honor before all else, but still, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about that. Now, we saw Balgruf here side with the Empire. We knew he was going to side with the Empire, and I can show you why. Imperial bow.
What do you need?
And using an Imperial sword.
You tried mercenary work?
If you attack them, they say, "Fool, you dare dishonor the Legion." His brother, Hrongar, Balgruf's brother, Hrongar, says, all this standing around is rubbish. We should be taking this fight to the... We should be taking the fight to the Stormcloaks. So, you know where they stand on this. Openly, they are neutral. Because this house... Not house, sorry, wrong house. Because this house, House Greymane, and this house, I think it's up here, we go. House Battleborn, they are on opposite sides of it. They are the two wealthiest families here. They own the two farms outside. One owns the meadery, one owns the farms. You know what I mean? They are the reason this town is as wealthy as it is, and people can live as well as they do. They're on opposite sides. These people support the Empire, and these people support the... Whoops. These people support the Stormcloaks. They're on opposite sides of this war, and for Balgruf to pick a side would mean one side stops supporting Balgruf and openly supports rebellion in the hold. So that's why he's kind of been neutral up until this point. But now he's backed into a corner, and so when you're backed into a corner, your true colors really show. It's like if somebody walks up to you in the middle of the street and pulls a gun on you or threatens you. Not pull a gun, because a gun isn't fair. But if like puts up his fist and threatens to punch you in the face, your true colors are shown right then and there. Are you going to back down and you're going to say, whoa, and try to find a peaceful solution? Are you going to turn tail and run? Or are you going to buck up and fight? Same thing here. When you're forced into a situation, you're forced to pick a side. Well, he had every opportunity to join Ulfric's side if he felt that Ulfric was right. But he didn't. He chose the Empire. Which is fine, you know what I mean? I understand both sides of this. And like I said, in the next video when we're doing... the battle for Whiterun, I'm going to explain more the lore behind Balgruf the Greater. Gonna explain the lore behind the Empire. And I also, as we get farther into that episode, I'm going to talk about the life of Tiber Septim and the deceit and the lies that everybody here believes about him. Why I would not worship him, even though he may be a god. Okay, now this. I'll give you a little sneak peek. So his statue, right? Him stepping on a snake and getting ready to stab it. Have you noticed that on all of the little doors that you have to open with the Draugr? Have you noticed that there's a snake on those? Do you know why? Because the ancient Nords worship different gods than the Nords of today worship. Same gods, but they worship them in the form of animals. The snake represented Lorcan, aka Shore, aka the god who lets you into Sovngarde. Why isn't Talos in Sovngarde? He's stepping on a snake representing Shore. Why don't the Nords here worship Lorcan anymore? They called him Lorcan. Why don't they worship Lorcan? Why is there no statues to Lorcan? Why does nobody worship Lorcan anymore? They worship Talos instead now. And even their statue of Talos depicts him stabbing Lorcan. Now, Talos used to be named... He wasn't a Nord, actually. Everybody thinks he was a Nord because he was in Skyrim. He was not born a Nord. He was born a Breton, a half-blood, a Manmer, half Nordic, half High Elf. He was a Breton, and his name was Hjalti. Now, remember the ghost that you talked to at Old Something Inn? That inn you go to, Hold Crawlmill Inn, or something like that? When you go there, do you remember that guy? And he goes, Hjalti! No worries, I understand. When he goes, Hjalti, it's you! I haven't seen you in so long. Tiber Septim was Dragonborn, remember? Hjalti, it's you! I haven't seen you in so long. You promised to make me your brother, your blood brother. He sees you and he sees Hjalti. Hjalti, aka Tiber Septim, aka Talos, aka the god that everybody here is worshipping. You're Dragonborn. So is Tiber Septim. He feels that in you. The ghost can't see people anymore. He just sees their soul. You have the same soul as Tiber Septim because you are Dragonborn. So when he sees you, he sees his old friend Hjalti. And that is why, because everybody goes, why does he think you're Hjalti? Who is Hjalti? Hjalti Earlybeard, Breton, moved to Skyrim from High Rock. Became a court advisor and eventually a general. Eventually became the High King of Skyrim and invaded Cyrodiil. Founded the Empire. Conquered all of High Rock in 1 hour. High Rock is like the size of Russia. I mean, because we have tanks and stuff. So, I guess that would be like us conquering Russia in all of an hour. Bullshit. Some people say the war took 2 millennia, 2,000 years. Other people say it took 1 hour. Why? Because there was a dragon break. Because of Numidium. There was a very specific gift given to Tiber Septim by the Trinity. By the 3... Shit, I forgot. I don't even have any of that. By the 3 gods, or living gods of Morrowind, in the game Morrowind. Vivek, and the rest of the Tribunal. They gave Numidium to Tiber Septim, and Tiber Septim used it to conquer all of Tamriel. And conquer he did. And he pissed off his friend Ysmir, the actual Ysmir, Dragon of the North. Broke that connection. But I'm going to tell you that entire story. I'm going to tell you how Tiber Septim became Talos, how he became a god, how, why they worship him, and why none of the Nords seem to remember ever worshipping Lorcan.
I never would have believed it.
Yet they should remember, because it's their history, it's their religion. It just one day changed. They stopped worshipping him and they started worshipping Talos. Why? That's the question, right?
It's like the ancient legends.
I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to tell you so much more. But until then, I think I'm going to end that just about here. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you dislike it, go ahead and give it a dislike. But if you dislike it, that's fine. You know, I don't mind if you dislike. But tell me why. Tell me what I could do to make this better. It's a lore play, so I'm playing through. But if I'm talking about stuff, I can't always, you know, be in the middle of a fight because the fighting drowns out my voice. So unless I mute the game, or if somebody else is talking, I don't talk over it. That's why. If you want me to mute the game and just kind of have me playing through and, you know, going through ruins and stuff like that as I talk, I can do that. But yeah, whatever you think I can do to make this channel something that you guys would like to see more of, go ahead and leave a comment or send me a private message. I don't care. Whatever you guys want to do. I really appreciate you guys watching. As long as you guys keep watching these videos, I'll keep making them. The minute you guys don't want to watch them anymore, I will stop making them. Subscribe if you haven't already. I post videos every single day. A bunch of different games, not just this. But Destiny and Destiny 2 is coming out soon. So I will be doing, I'll be streaming the beta. So if you guys haven't seen, you guys want a place to go, I'll be playing like 8 hours of Destiny beta a day. So like if you guys really want to get an in-depth feel for the beta and you haven't bought it yet, you haven't bought the Destiny, you haven't pre-ordered it yet, shit, I mean, subscribe and I'm going to be playing the hell out of that. And I do a bunch of other games. You can follow me. You've seen I've been doing a playthrough of Fallout. I do I got a game called Bloodborne. I don't know if you guys know what that is. I guess it's similar to Dark Souls. I also have Dark Souls. I have Titanfall, Doom, a bunch of other games that I want to get into. But I just started this channel this week and I haven't had much time to, you know, actually get into making every single game I haven't, you know, done everything yet. A lot more stuff that I want to do that I haven't just haven't had the time to do yet. So, yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I had fun. Hope you guys did. Give it a like if you want to. Subscribe for more. And until tonight, tonight I'm going to be doing a 4-hour run of Resident Evil. This will be my last playthrough of Resident Evil. Like, no, probably second to last. But I'm going to do it in 4 hours. I'm going to get that saw. We're going to beat the entire game in 4 hours, and I'm going to tell you how you can do the same thing. Things you can skip through, how to get through as quick as possible, enemies you have to fight, enemies you don't have to fight. Watch. You guys will learn how to be able to get that saw. And yeah, until tonight, I'd say thank you for watching again, and peace out. Y'all have a good one.